We are here at Tri-City Outlaws football practice. They're gearing up for the Northern Football Conference season. This is head coach Chris Newsome, who has an announcement to make here tonight on 519. Coach Newsome, the floor is yours.
Well, after 20 years of being Tri-City Outlaws, 16 of them being the head coach, I'm finally retiring. It's the last ride for Coach Newsome. It's been a good career. I've got my championships. I've got my Coach of the Year awards. I've met a lot of good young men. Met a lot of good people in the football community, but life's getting busy. Daughter's growing up, playing her own sports. I want to be a fan now. I don't want to be standing on the sidelines, running teams and coaching and doing that anymore. Now, that to say doesn't mean I'm completely stepping away from football. You never know. You might see me helping out some of the younger generations,
Right.
or maybe even some of the female football players that are coming up. But as far as Tri-City goes, this is it for me. This is my last season.
And it's been quite an incredible run. This is the 20th year for the Tri-City Outlaws coming up here. What do you take away the most, Chris? Is it the championships or the relationships or just the people that you've mentored over the years? I don't think you realize the impact that you've had on as many lives as you've had over the past 2 decades.
The championships are fun, but it's the friendships that have been built over the last 20 years and maybe even more. The young men that I've watched. I've seen guys get married. I've seen them have kids. It's just been watching them grow up into fine young men. That's been the part that I'll remember the most, because once I walk away, they'll still be my friends. They'll still be guys that I can check in on. They'll still reach out to me and say, hey, coach, when are you going to come coach my son? You know, that type of stuff. I think that's the biggest thing that I'll miss the most.
Emotional decision? Easy decision because you were ready? What went into it?
Well, there's been a lot of false starts over the last 3 or 4 years. Every time I want to walk away, someone grabs a hold of me and pulls me back. I mean, last year I wanted to walk away and guys came and said, Coach, this is year 19. You got to at least walk away in year 20. So it brought me back. But being out here, you kind of don't have the same fire. That desire to be on the field and to be coaching the guys, as much as I like them and all the rest of that stuff, I just don't have the energy to do it anymore. It's and I've got nothing else to prove, really. I mean, yes, I'd like to go out on top with one more championship, but if I don't, I'm not going to be upset by it because I've got a few of those already. So,
Why did you do it for 2 decades? What were some of the things that kept you coming back? You're a football guy. I get the X's and O's part, but there's so much more to it than that when it comes to the Outlaws. These guys are passionate. They love it. They're out here for the love of the game in many cases, and I assume that rubbed off on you a little bit?
absolutely. I mean, one of the main things that I say anytime anyone asks me that is I do it for the guys that are standing behind me right now, right? The guys that are here that have played university football, don't want to end their football career, guys that have played CFL but didn't quite stay long enough and they want an opportunity, guys that have played high school and have nowhere else to go, right, that want to play football, to give them a place to come out and play, to hang out, blow off some steam, whatever it is their requirement for being here is why I've kept doing it. And that's why the Tri-City Outlaws really continue to exist, is for those guys that just want a home.
Let's hear from a couple of the players. We spoke to them a couple of minutes ago about what Coach Newsome has meant to them over the years. Here's a few comments from the players.
Coach Newsome is a big part of who I am today. He's been a mentor to me. He was one of those guys. He was a groomsman for me this past October. So I've learned a lot from him. A lot of long chats in the car about life, about football, and would run through a wall for Coach Newsome.
He's just been the ultimate motivator for me, brings out the best in me as a defensive coordinator, as a D-line coach, as a head coach. Just really supportive, tells you what you need to know, and he's in your corner, and but expects the most out of you. So it's just a hell of a coach all around.
A lot of high praise for a great coach over the years. This season, you're getting ready here. It's coming up here in the next little bit. Like you said, you want to go out with a championship in your 20th year. You've been this close last season. What's it going to take in your mind? You get to the championship last year. How do you get the job finished this season?
I mean, all off season, we've been looking at sort of where we went wrong with us in the championship game, because we had a good run last year. I mean, five shutout games, pretty much an undefeated season except for an overtime loss, and then we couldn't get it done in the championship. And I mean, certainly we're playing against the best team in the league. They've been the champions for years counting now. And it's just looking at our depth and looking at how we can make sure we don't fall into a situation where some guy goes down and the person that replaces him hasn't had a chance to play all season long. Just fine-tuning what we've got. I mean, I still think we're going to be on top of the heap. Granted, there's been a lot of change in the league and there's going to be some more powerhouse teams coming up. But I mean, essentially defensively, we're still the same core group of guys. In my mind, the defense is still going to be the power of Tri-City. Even though I won't be calling the defense this year, it's actually the first year that I'll just be able to be a head coach.
You're a defensive guy, though. Come on
I'm a
now.
defensive guy, and I'll certainly be watching, looking over the shoulder. Defense is going to be powerful, but I also see us with a few talented players that have come out from the university ranks and even from our local minor ranks as well too. And that extra dimension of not having to rely on one or two players, I think, makes it tougher across the board for teams that we're going to face this year.
I speak on behalf of a lot of people, Chris, when I say thank you. You and I have known each other for almost all of those 20 years, from my past employer to obviously 519 Sports Online. You've done amazing things mentoring young men, giving them opportunities in our community. We wish you the best of luck this season, and thanks for all you've done.
Thank you very much. It'll be missed.